This is People's University of Russia, with a strong attachment to Africa, a reason previously it was named after one of the continent's fighters for independence, Patrice Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Lumumba in 1960 turned to United Soviet Socialist Republic, seeking for backing against belligerent-supported army mutinies, a scenario which caused a war crisis. United States and United Nations' refusal to grant Lumumba support expedited the move to the east, souring relationship with President Joseph Kasavubu and Chief of Staff Joseph Mobutu. African students are to date finding routes to the university in pursuit of programs in general medicine, oil and gas engineering, construction, and pharmaceutical science.
We don't have the students only from two African countries, from Niger and from Swaziland.
Namibia and South Africa top with highest number of students under scholarships offered by Russian government.
I'm from South Africa.
I'm here to study veterinary medicine.
I got a scholarship from my country, from the Namibian government, to come and study here, so that's why I'm here.
Ugandan students are equally studying at the People's University of Russia, otherwise known as Ruden, and other universities spread across the federation. Through a special arrangement, I have known Ivan Kulumba, a Ugandan student in Moscow.
I arrived here in Russia, Moscow, on Wednesday last evening, and one of the people who picked me up at the airport was my friend now, Ivan. Ivan, it is nice meeting you once again.
Nice to meet you.
The friendship has introduced me to students from other African states and Uganda, having coincided with the first exhibition of African culture and richness at Ruden University. The students opt to keep the exhibition annual.
Most of the time people think like we don't have like proper dressing like in Africa and things like that. We just need to show them how different Africa is.
Our African wear is so unique, as you can see.
It is 10 years since Ivan Kulumba sat for Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education. He should have accomplished a second degree or even married, but he is yet to obtain such a qualification. Ivan dropped out of university after several failed attempts in 3 separate universities in Uganda.
Before that is in MOBS. I studied only 1 semester in MOBS. I was pursuing a bachelor's degree in business administration. I could not finish because of school fees. I joined UCU. I could not finish because of school fees.
Long walk knocking at the gates of embassies across the capital, Kampala, luckily landed Ivan on the little-known scholarship opportunity offered by Kremlin government.
You know, when life becomes hard, you also become hard. When life becomes hard, you need to fight your way out. You understand? An idea just came in me, and I decided to make use of it. I said, you know, let me go and storm the embassies.
The Russian government proposes each year the state scholarships for your country also. I think that it is about 10 or 20 state scholarships for different Russian universities. But at the same time, I want to underline that we have our proper universities scholarships. My university can propose also the state scholarships for students also. But as I have said, that we have the rule that the proportion for all contingent of foreign students is 50-50. 50 by state budget and 50 by their proper payment. So if we will obtain by a special agreement with your country 5 or 10 students by payment, so I can propose for them the 5 or 10 at the same time state scholarships. So it may be realized. It may be realized because the Russian Federation, I underline, it proposes these state scholarships for each country, even for USA, even for France, not only for all African countries.
Through a painting job offered by the university, Ivan is able to facilitate his stay in Moscow, whereas meeting other educational requirements.
Yeah, mine is half scholarship. They only cater for my school fees, so I cater for, I pay my accommodation and insurance. Here at the university offers some opportunities to people. They give you some work, for example, painting, doing renovations. So I applied I told them I need money, I need to pay my tuition, I need to pay my insurance, I need to pay my accommodation, and I want to study too, please. And I'm working now. I paint. I'm very good at painting. I learned it here.
There are a total of 25 scholarship slots offered by Russian Federation, with a possible addition from Rhoden University. Namibia, South Africa, Nigeria and Ivory Coast are African countries that are sending in high number of students, exceeding the available scholarships.
I had an opportunity by my government, a scholarship, 5 years ago. So it was not really by choice, but by the opportunity that I was granted.
Back in our country, I think there are only 2 universities that do have veterinary medicine. So we came here to actually come with an international experience as to maybe try to help the doctors in our country. Also black veterinary doctors in our country are few, so you know there's this thing that's called BEE, Black Economic Empowerment, so we're trying to balance between the two.
However, slots available for Uganda have had cut to 8 and is at a verge of scrapping.
1,200 students from 44 countries. It is in average about 30 students from country, but from your country we have now only 5 students. It's too little. As I am saying always, they cannot even to organize the football team.
Although there is willingness from the government of Uganda to take up the Russian offered scholarships, commitment isn't about to happen. Minister of State for Higher Education, John Christopher Muyingo, alludes to budget constraints.
So when you compute what it takes for one to leave Uganda to go to Russia, the air ticket, plus the accommodation, it is so much that very few Ugandans have come in to ask to apply and take up those scholarships. The cost itself is a lot more than what one would pay if his family sponsored him as a private student in Kampala.
I'd like to ask which university in Uganda now can ask for 900,000 Uganda shillings a semester? Because I have a brother, actually, he studied in Makele and he dropped out in second year. He was doing architecture because he could not proceed, he could not pay. He pays something close to, I think, close to 3 million. You understand? So now he joined another university in Uganda too, but we contribute the little I get, I send to him, and he also gets money from other people. But still, sometimes he sends the budget, and sometimes the budget is too big for a semester, close to 4 million.
And when you look at the amount of money we get from the treasury, government's contribution cannot even really support even a single student. When you look at the amount of money we get from the treasury.
And to this extent, the scholarships have to hang in balance.
Even before these scholarships were given to us, there were negotiations, there were understanding, there were meetings, which ended into saying this is what we are able to give you. It is quite a substantial amount of money that our budget as a Minister of Education cannot provide for.
The scholarships at the moment remain open for those able to facilitate stay in Russia. Onyango Jackson, reporting for UBC in Moscow.